Hello, dear friends. Welcome to this channel. Thank you of everyone who is already tuned in here and subscribed. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Georgia Ashara, and I'm a spiritual guide assisting those who wish to expand their consciousness and activate a deeper self-awareness of their multidimensional self within this body, within this human experience. And let's begin. So today we are discussing some amazing things about embodying peace, embodying energies that we wish to help to assist with humanity. There is so much going on this planet right now that we can feel overwhelmed in ourselves, even within our own daily lives. There's so much going on within the microcosm of our own life, of our own being, our own experiences. And then there's that which goes on within our family dynamics, our friends, our relationships, our work, goes on within our towns, within our cities, within our countries, and then it goes beyond and beyond into these other dimensions of different countries and things that are going on around the world. And when we really start to pan out, it can feel overwhelming when we haven't even been able to center within our own inner being and found stability within ourselves. And it can make us feel kind of helpless, right? Because we want to help the world, we want to be a support, and we wish we could just end the suffering through our being, through our own being. We wish you could just say no and it stop, right? So I invite you to look at some different ways that we can transmute this within our own field, because actually there is power in our intention. There's so much power in our intention, and I see a lot of different mixed things going on in our world where it's kind of like, you can't just sit there and meditate. It's not enough. You've got to go out there and do the world. And then that makes that person feel of lack. And then that person, even though that they want to do more and they're out there gallivanting, doing whatever it is they're doing, they might not even feel that they're doing enough either. And, I think that everyone has to just do what's right for them, because then we are then doing right for humanity. If we're constantly trying to propel ourselves into a direction that we feel is adequate for the criteria of someone else or society, then we're never going to really achieve anything, because really all we're here to do is to achieve what is here within us. And that might be to be, holding ceremonies and, and just spending time meditating. It might be going out there and creating a project and being a part of projects and charities and doing things like that. It might be both. You might be able to encompass both of those in your life. But really do what's right for you, what's going to be most adequate for you, and what can you hold? What capacity do you have to hold, and nothing is wrong or right. Okay, it's just what is needed for you to be in service in your way, in your unique way. And, and within this time of year, specifically here in England, and I'm sure there's definitely other parts of the world, you have Christmas and things like this going on. You either love it and you are all in for all of it, or, you might be in the middle ground, you might completely not agree with it at all. And then it feels like a really polarity, a real clash, when you think about all those different sufferings that are going on in the world. And then there is this consumerism and there's all these different things, and you want to kind of play a part in it in a way, because your family are, your friends are, society around you are. And this can look at different times of year when people have different kind of celebrations going on. It can really bring up actually a lot of different mixed feelings, and then that can also feel really disconcerting within the field of our own inner being, when we come back and into our internal awareness and think, right, what does this feel for me? What feels right for me? So this is kind of what we're going to be talking about, is to finding that inner peace. It's not about ignoring things. It's not about avoiding the other energies and things like that that we are experiencing, because we will experience them. But it's being able to hold that even in amongst the other things, you know, just knowing that it's not all of the turmoil, and we're not rejecting and avoiding by going into the peace, but we're just aware that there is this omnipresence of like a stillness that is within us. And this is where, you know, having a regular meditation practice is obviously the golden key. It's the most simplest thing, but yet it can be really the hardest thing if we've got lots of things going on. And I've talked about that in other videos of how you can tap into that energy as well. But I want to give you just some other things that I kind of find quite helpful, especially someone who is considered, you know, in the spiritual community, within the spiritual practices that are out there. Like, how do we navigate all these different things that are going on? And for me, one of those things that I really want to talk about, which can be quite triggering, or it can be kind of, I don't want to insult people when I'm talking about this, because I think that there's something for everyone everywhere, and there may be purpose for it in some way, shape or form. So I don't want to disregard it when I talk about it, okay? I just want to say that this is what feels really good for me, okay? And it's really not going into a lot of this. So, you know, we've got the news, okay, that's on the TV, which is always quite overwhelming in itself, because it's very, it's deemed as quite a negative perspective of what's going on in the world. It's the news that describes things that are usually around tragedy and stressful events and things like that. Although it's good to be aware of, you know, what's going on in the world, but we don't want to always overly get caught up in it, right, all the time. And, you know, some of those stories and things that are going on, it won't necessarily be beneficial for us to hold that. If we haven't got our own nervous system regulated, if we're not feeling very peaceful, and we haven't got things together in our own lives, it's very hard to then start taking on all these other things. If they're not immediate, if it's not directly going to affect you per se, although we know that the macro, the micro, it's all interconnected, but just thinking about taking a step back from that. And so where I'm coming in with this, because I'm sure most of you who probably listen to this video will think, yeah, I don't really listen to the news all the time, But do you listen to the spiritual news, which is the energy updates and, you know, well, the energy updates basically. So these things, and you know, and especially, and you know, some of them can be quite sweet. You know, they talk about the different plasma light that's coming in, and this galactic being and so forth, and we're getting this upgrade, But what I have found quite unnerving in my own system is hearing about the different symptoms that I'm going to be receiving from this upgrade, and the different things that are happening with the solar flares and things like this, and how I'm going to be reacting to it, what's going on in the world, and how I'm going to react to it. That feels very uncomfortable in me, because if I'm here to evolve, and I think the most important thing for me personally on this planet that I see, and what we're all doing, is we're all learning to evolve and tune into our internal system, into our internal awareness. So for me, it feels like it's the same thing. I feel like it's actually spiritual news. It's not an energy update to me anymore. You know, I used to like those kind of things, and even tarot readings that talk about what's going on planetary, what's going on for the collective, and so forth. But in hindsight, everything is a timeline. Everything is a choice point for you. So maybe you stumble upon something and it is meant for you. Maybe there will be some information in there that's a transmission that you need to know. But if we're constantly going out and seeking this information outside of ourselves, if people are constantly just sharing that information to people, then we lose sight of actually being able to do it for ourselves. This is why I love holding space for people, either, you know, groups, and in my online courses and my one-on-one work is all about helping people to really just holding the space for that person to really illuminate their gifts and their abilities and their power within themselves, because that's really ultimately what we're all come here to do, is to come into that. And when we have that, we don't really need to know what the energy update is, because we know because we've got the awareness, we know how to handle it. Okay, we're not just listening to how these things influence us, and we don't just take that on, because because it's a biology of belief. You know, you can read Dr. Lipton's amazing book about that, about epigenetics, and this is our environment. So if we're tuning into the environment where these energy updates are affecting us on a physical level to the point where it's making us fatigued and tired in bed, and we have aches and pains and headaches and we can't do anything, then you start to take on that. And you don't have to. You really do not have to. You make the choice. Where do you want to go? What does this energy actually gonna do is it gonna do with you? That came out really funny. You know, is it something that you even want to attain? You know, because if someone else is telling you that, you just don't even know where that information's really coming from in some cases. But I mean, a lot of you will probably be feeling into these people, and there's some people who are really lovely out there, and I love them. I have them as friends on, you know, Facebook and Instagram and so on, but I just don't want to play into I don't read the things, because it doesn't feel good. Even if I just play in it a little bit and I see, it doesn't feel good for me. Okay, so I'm just saying this to suggest to people, if you want to find some inner peace and some clarity within your own internal being, it's to not look outside yourself, essentially. And I just wanted to talk about the spiritual news aspect of it, because it's something I still see so much of, and I'm just like, this is, you know, all this information, it's just information. You know, even this is a paradox, what I'm doing now. I'm still giving information, but I'm hoping that when I share things, and I really am always setting that intention that I hope that I share things, and when I do, I set the intention to share these things that are more in a way that you can contemplate and come into your own truth. And I'm never going to give you anything that you have to do out of your own free will. I really honor everybody's energy systems, their soul, their purpose, their mission, their timeline. So you pick your timeline. Just simply, if you are listening to this and you're intrigued right now, then sit with it, contemplate on it, whether it's something that feels really aligned to you, something that you want to try and see, okay, maybe I'll take a break from watching the news and see how it makes me feel. So that's just one thing that is a suggestion that really helps bring me into my center, because if I ever get pulled off and out, then, you know, just getting away from the distractions and not reading and listening to what other people have to say. I've also found that this has influenced me with even my delivering my purpose and sharing my offerings, you know, because I sometimes have read things and other people have posted that, or even videos where people kind of slam spiritual guides and people who do coaching and mentoring and this and that, and you know, I take it personally, and I think, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I shouldn't be doing this. You know, if I do this is going to, you know, and it could be anything. Like, that's just my little thing that has got me before. But it could be that someone just says something that could be kind of in alignment with something that you do or something that you enjoy, and you start questioning that, and can kind of sometimes throw you off. So don't ever look at things when other people are saying stuff if you haven't got the capacity to be in your own like sovereign truth. And it's always good to expand and be malleable, right, in life, and not be stuck with your thought process, because something could actually shift your perspective and actually enlighten your experience and evolve and help you to evolve, right? So there's just like that, finding that balance, okay? So if you're not in the capacity to do it, I'm just saying just to take a step back until you feel a little bit more clear in yourself and you've, realigned your nervous system, and then coming back into exploring other people's perspectives, that kind of thing. And if you do, just check in with yourself, like, does this really align with my soul truth? Because I can see where people are coming from my perspective when it comes to this whole spiritual guide and coaching thing. It's like, yeah, there are a lot, but actually maybe we do, we need something else. We've been needing something else for a long time. We're evolving. This is a part of the evolution, I feel, is people being able to seek wisdom in other ways rather than just these many very big coach person or guru type. And instead we're able to all learn from one another, from that perspective of like, oh, I'm gonna work with this person and that person, and it's relationships, it's having more relationships, and when there's one person that you can really have an intimate experience with, this is how I've kind of really sat with it. It's just it's actually really nice to have those kinds of experiences, and I've learned so much myself from evolving out of my little box of just needing to like do certain things. I could have gone down many paths, and we don't have to just go down the very stereotypical path anymore, career paths that we used to, so it's nice to have that varying options, different ways of working with energy, different ways of working with our trauma as well. Like when we look at trauma healers and things like that, there's not just counseling, it's not just talk therapy, there's somatic therapy now, there's sound therapy, it just goes on. You can go down the tantric route, you can go down the Taoist route, you can go down the esoteric, metaphysical, hypnotherapy, do you know what I mean? It's endless. There's so many different types of hypnotherapy. It's lovely that we have a varying degree, but then there's also that overwhelm. So this is why coming back to your center first and foremost, and then leading from that space, is going to allow basically everything else to feel more in alignment. So yeah, I really wanted to go over that with you. I wanted to share that, and I would really recommend just having a daily practice that does vary, but playing with your modalities, the different modalities, and not getting so caught up and stuck into one way, because I think that even though some of these ways can seem so expansive and enlightening, right, it's still just one system and one way, and we don't get to really open ourselves up and expand ourselves. So if anyone's always telling you like this is the way, there is only one way, then you're going to kind of get into a trap of coming out of your center, out of your soul purpose, out of your soul alignment, just being able to hear and be in tune with your guides and spirit, which for me is what peace is. I feel so peaceful when I'm completely content with what I'm doing, how I'm moving in the world. Whereas if I start listening to how other people tell me I should move in the world, that's when I go off center, right? So really coming into that self-awareness. And yeah, I really just feel that the key in this evolution that we're in right now is about coming into intuition. So if you're someone that doesn't think that you have the ability to read oracles and tarot cards, then I suggest just trying and just exploring and doing those sorts of things. Work with someone who will teach you those things, rather than just constantly going to people who do it for you all the time. And I'm saying like some of those things are helpful and beneficial, and you can but just not to completely rely to the point where you feel that you have lost your own inner voice. Okay, I've been there even recently. I find myself just I can go off and think, oh gosh, okay, I'm gonna go and speak to someone and listen, but Do you know what's the funny thing that happens? Whenever I do that, they only tell me things that I already know. And I'm like, I already knew that. And I just started doing this because I knew that I was getting that hit that I needed to do this. Oh yes, I get the intuitive hit because I'm an intuitive being. So it's great for confirmation. You know? And reminding me like, oh yes, I forgot about that. I forgot that I had this ability for a moment there. I was doubting myself, like as if I wasn't able to do it. And then here I am being told that I'm doing all the things that I should be doing. So it makes me laugh. And I get it. If you really feel like you're so off center that you need that assistance, again, that's why it's so good to sometimes have that person to support you. But if you're feeling really like out of peace and out of center, then I just recommend is looking at how you can up level on your intuition and your soul alignment, soul communication, so that you can actually so you can find these things out for yourself, and you'll feel more centered. You won't keep going off and feeling out of peace and everything. So as you know, many of you probably maybe have already listened to this week, we had our peace body activation, and I'm just going to run through that a little bit again in a different way here with you. I just want to really go in without all the sounds and the things going on. I might share a light language code if that comes through, but just to just feel into your body right now. So just close your eyes. If it's the time, remember you've got to make sure that you have the space here right now to come into that. Make sure that all the distractions are gone and you're just feeling where your body is right now. And I'd just like to just scan from the top of your head, slowly, all the way down throughout your body, and just find if there's anything that feels uncomfortable in the body. So imagine if it's feeling uncomfortable right now, maybe this is something that's coming up to be released so that you can bring more peace in. Maybe it's a bit of conflict within yourself of how you want to move in this world. Perhaps you've been feeling just some feelings that are just not feeling so good, and they're manifesting in the body right now. You can feel the sensations. It might be blocking you, preventing you from moving on in your life, or from feeling more peace and contentment with your life. So I just invite you to feel where that is. Just scan through the body and notice the feeling. You don't have to think about what it actually is. It's just a feeling, okay? Just feel the feeling right now. When you found that, you're going to use a sound. You're going to make a sound into the body, whatever that sound is, and use that sound. Imagine the sound could be from the thing. You could be projecting it into the thing. This thing, whatever it is, it's just a sensation that you're noticing, and we're going to start to sound and breathe into that feeling. Breathing and expanding your ribs, just letting the breath move into that area where there's a little bit of discomfort. It could be a physical pain, it could just be a sensation, like a buzzing or a tapping. It could feel like you have a ball or something spiky in a different part of your body, wherever it is. Just giving you some idea. If you're having trouble, just try and let the body relax so you can feel where that tension is. When you found it, making that sound. So this is just a sound that wants to come through me. I've identified that there's something just kind of in where my back of my rib cage. So I'm just breathing and letting the sound out. I can feel the sound moving and rippling through this area of discomfort. And if it feels like it's moved on and you can feel it moved, you can start to feel something else, then start to bring your breath and the sounding to a different area of the body. You can just keep doing this wherever you feel it, and you can do this whenever you want to. Whenever you feel something is coming up for you emotionally, then just feel the sensation in the body. Might notice a somatic release coming through. All is perfect, all is well. Just let whatever needs to come through. And if you're having trouble even sounding and making a sound, then really look at that. See if you can move past this silence and just make a sound. You don't need to think about what the sound's going to be, it just needs to come through. You know, we are animal-bodied beings. We are human beings that are primal, and we make sounds, we make movements when we need to move energy in our body. Good. So we're going to move on now. If you feel a bit more free, we're going to start to breathe in a frequency and an energy from pure divine source light. So we're just going to set that intention. So in the previous meditation, it was focused on peace, but really go in to see what wants to just be now for you. It could be the codes of faith. It could be the codes of peace. It could be the codes of love. Whatever it needs to be. I'm just going to evoke this from pure divine consciousness. And it's going to come raining in like some crystalline waters filled with these codes and symbols from pure divine source light. And these codes and symbols, you don't have to know what they are. You may see them, you may not. You may just know, sense and feel this word that has come to you is coming from pure divine source light. So this is the highest vibrational expression of this emotion, of this feeling, of this embodiment that we wish to encompass. And we're going to fill up those areas in the body that had the discomfort with this beautiful liquid, crystalline liquid light that also has these codes and symbols and patterns in them. Okay. You can see it might be a color, might just look like water. Let it be what it is for you. Really asking you to take in and on your intuition here in this space. Going beyond the instructions. This is just guidance, it's just merely suggestion. And for you to really evoke your highest, purest, loving frequencies that are right for you in this now moment, however that wishes to show up. And allowing it to move and be in your body. And feeling the alchemy of that in your body. So start to move with the body. So letting your body move as well. Even if it doesn't feel right, just letting yourself move. It might, because you might be used to being quite stiff and still in a more meditative practice, but we're asking for movement, swaying, whatever feels good in the body, just to sway and move. Imagine you can feel and sense the energy. And if you, someone who doesn't usually feel and sense the energy, I invite you to ask and request from pure divine source light that you can start to feel the tangible energy moving through the body. Yamoya no kui izazaza ujane zawa ej naraktar uno yezenyam ajaka yejana ukira anana ada ojuntu. And from here, we're going to visualize a beautiful spiral of energy. This is your energy, your life force energy that is connected to pure divine source light. And it spirals down from your sacral all the way down into the earth's core, into the reaching down of the crystalline core of the earth, and then pulling up this energy as well with you. As it goes down, it simultaneously goes up. And it comes up through the body, drawing upon the crystalline codes of the earth. So you feel this embodiment and connection to our beautiful mother of the earth to support our human body. Any of the codes, any of the symbols, any of the minerals and properties that we need for our human body can come up through this space. And when you finally come back up to the sacral, we're going to allow this spiral to go up to pure divine source light, all through all the chakras. And then as you come up into the pure divine source light, you can then start to receive all of the codes, the wisdom and your soul purpose, your soul mission, soul alignment from pure divine source light, down through, spiraling down into the solar plexus and then down into the sacral. So you just see that going all the way through all of your system and expanding out and around. So you feel it is a pillar of energy, but it also actually moves as a spiral. It's not just straight, it's actually a spiral that goes up and down through your pillar of light. And this creates this beautiful harmony with our earthly beingness and our heavenly beingness. So we're creating this beautiful heaven on earth energy throughout our body, throughout our being and in our life, that harmony. You become a celestial, angelic presence. And it's not a rejection of things that may not seem angelic here on earth, but it is that you're able to hold this frequency within everything. Okay, so we get to express and be everything because we are everything. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yes. And you feel this complete wholeness, knowing that this is stabilized and this is you. This is your omnipresent connection to all that you are. And is always going, always spiraling, always moving, always connected. It is just merely a point of awareness in this now moment. So just placing your hands on your heart and over your sacral area. Just feeling into this experience, just holding into that. And I invite you after this videos to, go put some music on and just dance with your inner being, dance with your body, and feel this energy swaying and moving through you, and feeling this oneness with all that you are. Okay, so really coming into that harmonious frequency of your being, and just flowing and being in that beautiful divine, just to me, I'm just seeing this beautiful liquid crystalline consciousness energy that's just swaying and moving throughout our system, and just helping us to really recalibrate all that we are, and letting go of those things that they're not really us, these problems, these beliefs, these programs, these thought forms, they're not actually us. And we don't need to have to reject them, ignore them, because if they're coming to us, we can actually look at them, but from a loving place, from a place where we can then dissolve it in a way that we don't need it anymore, when we realize all that we truly are, when we realize our divinity, when we realize the omnipresence of our divinity and our connection to all things, from the earth to the pure divine source light, pure divine source creation. We realize that we are just in this beautiful form right now, having this wonderful experience, and we can choose what we pay attention to. We can choose how we, how we experience those things. We get to have more of a choice, and we get to have more of a decision on what timeline we are experiencing. And we get to have more of a decision on how our body and how our life and experience is affected by those other things that are around us. When we have that omnipresence, stillness within, always there, but it's just a matter of taking the time to tune into that, instead of tuning into all these other external things, even though that each and every one of us is a being. Okay, we're all a being from the one being, and it's really important that we learn from one another in many ways, relationships, having communication with one another, but not to give all of our power away to those who seem like they have more, because they don't. We all have the same capacity. It's just how much we choose to, and what is in alignment for us. Maybe it's not in alignment for us to receive in that way, and there is something else for us. And when we let go of resistance and needing to be like others, then we get to walk our own path. So I hope that this has been a beautiful assistance to you, and if there's anybody out there in the world that you feel that could benefit from this information, then feel free to share, subscribe, and you can get to listen to the meditations and things and these talks. But we do have now a membership called I Am, which is free, on georgiaashara.com, and you get to watch these videos on there, and we have light code artwork, which we will be doing some more lives with those, but that's where the artwork's going to be. So if you actually want to download the copy, if you want to work with the light code artwork for your own healing journey, and to open and to your awareness with the light codes, then you'll want to be on that membership, so you can receive them, and there's some on there already. Okay, so loads of love, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye for now.